following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Sitting down and designing, where every man in a thinking, what are we gonna be wearing? Yo, I'm a Liverpool MC, you can't test me. Big up the girls inside the party, let's get down to crazy Jimmy. Big up myself and known as Alfie, the one and only, the Turkish MC.
Always love the clothes of Jimmy.
Fish, I'm your wanna be, Jimmy Star, new celebrity.
We'll take you out to Jimmy Star's.
Hey ho, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, bringing you the good times in music, fashion, pop culture, and entertainment. We got a fun show for you guys today. I'm excited. We have new kinds of guests coming on a little bit for our first guest, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we even get into that, let's say hi to our rest of our show hosts. We have Ron Russell.
What does that mean?
That means you have the dog.
Oh.
So here's Ron Russell's show and Astro.
Astro, take your bow. Wait,
Astro, take a bow.
Such a lazy dog. Take your bow, Astro. Look, say hi. Okay, get back on your pillow.
There you go. All right. So say hi.
I have a pillow on my lap, and he's on the pillow. Hi, everybody. Today's show will be a little different. I guess we have to tone it down a bit. We have a guy coming on that's an ex-judge.
It should be a lot of fun.
We have to be careful.
Oh, they say they love your hair. What's up, chat room? Cindy Lady Lake's in there. Hope Reynolds is in there.
I thought my hair looked like an old man. If you want the truth.
Distinguished, very distinguished.
Distinguished. Okay. So now I'm distinguished. You know, I wrote on Facebook.
They said stylish, very stylish.
Very stylish. Okay. I wrote on Facebook when I was young. People in a picture, people would say, "Oh, I saw your picture. You're so handsome." Now at this age, they see my picture and they write, "Oh, what a great picture," or "Nice shot." But I'm not in it. You know, I'm in it, but they don't mention me. So this is what happens when you get older.
That's funny.
But anyway, so what did we do this week? We went to a birthday party. And Wells was there.
Claudia Wells, who was our guest 2 weeks ago, was there. So we have met her before, but this time it was more fun because we had known even more about her since we had her on the show.
Right.
And so we hung out with
Claudia
Wells.
It was so nice going into Los Angeles because it was 82 degrees there. And here it was like 117.
That's right. So
we are really hot again. You know, but this is Palm Springs. It's been this hot forever. I mean, the history of Palm Springs has always been 120, 121, 115. It's a desert. We're in the Mojave Desert. We're in the middle of the Mojave Desert.
It's hot as hell.
Imagine, I never dreamed. As a kid, I remember the Mojave Desert and Indians. You know, cowboys, chuck wagons, and Indians. I never dreamed that I would be living in a desert.
It's very beautiful in the wintertime and not in the summertime. And it's beautiful in the summertime, but you can't go out because it's very, very hot.
Right.
I mean, it's really hot.
We have 6 weeks left. After 6 weeks, the weather is the best in the country. And it's gorgeous all winter long.
We went to an appointment, and after the appointment, we had to get into the car, and Ron touched the car handle and almost burnt his hand. It was so hot. The car's so hot from having to sit outside.
Because it's a metal handle. It was really hot. You know, the seat of your car is hot. So when you sit down, you know, your testicles become fried eggs.
Yeah.
A little bit I had to do, you know, even though we have sophisticated guests on, big shots, I had to be a little nasty, you know. That's who I am. You know, I wrote a thing today about Jane Russell, and I don't know if people think that I was rude to her. We were going to the Cinema Paradiso in Florida for an award she was getting, an achievement award, and they were playing Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. So Jane was in my house, and she got dressed and came out into the living room, and I looked at her. I said, she was in a gorgeous gown. I said, "Jane, what happened to your tits? they're so low, like an old lady. You can't do that. I said, tighten up the bra strap. And she turned around to me with a pleasant face and said, I did, Ron. It doesn't go any higher. And she wasn't happy. So I yelled to my daughter, Leslie. I said, Leslie, who was in her bedroom, do you have a bra that you could loan Jane a push-up to get her boobs higher? So Leslie said, yes, I do. And Leslie loaned her a bra. And her boobs are up here beautiful where they should be. So I wrote about it on Facebook. And I'm just curious to see what people's reaction will be to that.
I don't know. I didn't
But it's
know
a true
that yet.
story. I mean, Jane loves me and I loved her. So I got away with murder with Jane. And she knew I didn't mean anything vulgar by it. That's just how I talk. You know, I come from a tough town where people were tough and people were funny. We had a great sense of humor in Brooklyn and New York. New Yorkers have the greatest sense of humor. You know, a building could fall on us and we make a joke about it, whereas other people would whine and cry forever about it. So that's just me. I'm a little tough, I guess. But that's who I am. And if you don't like it, what can I tell you? At 82 years old, what do you think I'm going to change? We got lots of luck, baby, on that one.
So I want to know if anybody went and saw the Meg 2. I want to go see the Meg 2,
Yeah.
you guys. I'm super, like Ron's a big Jason Statham fan. I just like it because it's an action film with sharks. So if anybody saw it, let me know what you thought because it just came out and I want to go see it. And
What does a movie cost nowadays?
I don't know. We haven't been to one since like the middle of COVID.
Yeah, I mean, they went up in price. I bet they're like $15 a ticket. I remember theater in New York. I went to see a big movie theater productions, and I paid $3.50 standing room only.
Okay, but
In
that's
the
like
no, but
million
if
years
you
ago.
bought a ticket, it was $15 to go see Gypsy.
Now that ticket's probably $550.
Oh yeah.
$550.
Yeah, it's true. And this is when I was going to beauty school. This was 1960, and I paid $15 for a ticket. In fact, I did see Gypsy with Ethel Merman on Broadway.
You gotta love it. So everything is going good, you guys. The strike is still going on, which is just a total bummer. But hopefully they're supposedly negotiating again. So hopefully that'll help us out some more, and we can get this thing going so we can go back to making movies. In the meantime,
And we have so many stars that want to come on our show, but they can't now because of the strike.
yeah, not
So-
everybody will talk about things, so it just depends. So what
Like last week's show, I remember we couldn't
Lee
mention
Purcell.
we couldn't mention names, we couldn't mention movies. It was a dreadful interview because it was like pulling teeth. How can you do an interview without talking about the work of the people? We're a business. A business
Conversation,
Yeah,
entertainment,
we're,
business show.
we're entertainment. Exactly. I don't know what the hell we are.
So that's okay. So I want to thank
We're not
everybody.
studs, we are. We're crazy.
I want to thank everybody who's been tuning in every week. Our last 3 shows have done really well, about over 20 million views for the last 3 shows. So thank you so much. You can hear us live on our home station, W4CY.com. We're on from 12 to 2 p.m. Pacific time, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. And then you can hear us on SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Prime. Love it if everybody would start listening to us on Apple Podcasts, because now I've got a thing worked out that we get paid for those if enough people watch. So like that would be
nice
terrific.
to get paid.
And so please watch us there. And I also, since we're talking about movies, I want to plug my movie Purgatorium again. It's on Tubi TV. It's doing really well. Everybody seems to like it. And I want to show the trailer one more time just to get it in there. So this is my movie Purgatorium. It's out on Tubi TV. I'm one of the producers on it. It's a psychological thriller, and everybody seems to be enjoying it. So here's the trailer. Enjoy, and then please go watch it on Tubi TV.
Don't I have a movie out now?
No.
Oh.
Soon.
Soon I have some.
Okay, but let him go. He's going to play my trailer.
What?
Go, Juan. Take the trailer away. Purgatorium, everybody.
So what is this double?
I'm stuck in here.
Who put you up to this?
No one did, sir.
I gave it to you in writing, Bart. In black and white.
I really don't want to hurt you, man.
Then don't. Evil is with us.
A wise man once said, life
is like a stream. If you're doing and you're not doing, it does not stop. Stay up there! The funny thing about streams, though, once it's off course, you can never change it back.
Yay!
Good movie.
So it's fun, you
Everybody
guys.
should
You're gonna
watch it.
enjoy it. Yeah, I think.
Well, wait a minute. Can
Enjoy
we
it.
do that? Are we going against the strike?
No, everybody's watched streaming still on TV.
Okay,
It's
well-
not a union production.
It's not a union.
No, it's not a union production. So you can like watch it. It doesn't matter. We have to watch stuff. I mean, we're gonna go see the Meg. It's in the theaters. Just those people can't promote it.
But if we go to the theater to see Meg, we're actually supporting the bad guys. So we won't go to the theater to see it. We'll wait until it comes on television.
Oh, I want to see it on a big
I'm not a
screen.
picket, a line. What do they call them? Scabs.
You're not a scab anyway, because you're not a part of the union now.
Well, I'm not working, but that doesn't mean I'm not, involved with the union.
Anyway, we're gonna go see the Meg because Deirdre wants to see it too.
So my daughter wants to see it. That makes it okay. What am I, chopped liver? Everybody rules my life and tells me what's permissible and what's not. Boy, oh boy. I'll tell you, when you're young, you tell your kids what to do, right? The minute you get old, your kids tell you what to do. Like you become the child. Like you're
Oh,
stupid.
yeah, you're
Like
the
you're
child.
You're senile and you don't know how to zip up your pants,
Yeah,
You need them to tell you.
Did I already tell everybody where they can see the show? Yes, I did.
What show?
Our show.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're all over.
I know, but did I actually say it?
Everything, yes.
No, did I say it today? Because if not, you have to say it every time. So we
You
have new
did.
people.
You said all the names. and
SoundCloud,
more.
iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts.
You know
all
what?
that.
Maybe you should have had a
I can't
child.
remember.
You should have had a kid to tell you what to do. You're getting a little weird.
Oh, B just joined us from Germany.
B, I did send energy to you for your son.
Yes, B.
And I hope all goes well, sweetheart.
Absolutely, B.
It will. I have good feelings about it.
We're putting out good vibes for B. Her son has to have hand surgery. He's in Switzerland, I think, or Sweden.
Switzerland. Yeah, they went to Switzerland
Love you, B.
for the special doctor
Thanks, Cindy.
her son needs.
They said we look handsome and dapper today.
Oh, really? What do I look like shit other days? Every day I look handsome and dapper. I combed my hair, and I don't like my hair combed. I never did.
So
I
just
have-
go like this.
I have never combed my hair in my life. That's me. Okay, now I feel good. I've never combed my hair, even as a young kid. When I used to go to school, the teachers would say to me, comb your hair. And they tell me to put Vaseline. Imagine. Put Vaseline in your hair.
What does that do?
It slicks it down and doesn't move.
Oh, but how do you get it out?
I guess when you wash it, I never put it in. And I said to the teacher back even then, my day, I said, listen, I like my hair like this. I don't like my hair combed, okay? And they reported me, and my parents had to go up to the principal's office because I answered back the teacher. And my mother, being an actress, and my father, being a liberal, they both went after the principal and said, my son looks wonderful. He's got a very big head of hair, and when the wind gets in it, that's what it looks like. And they didn't, school hated my parents too. Anyway, I never combed my hair again. When I got married, on my wedding day, they said, aren't you going to comb your hair? And I went like this. I said, I did. I just did. I put my hands in my hair, folks, for those of you on radio.
That's right.
So, leave people alone. Let people do what they do and let people feel good about themselves. And if running around naked makes you feel good about yourself, then go and do it. And if your hair needs to be messy, and it's no big deal, what? It causes trouble? No.
No, my hair's always messy.
Yeah, I like messy hair. Combed hair looks like a wig.
I wear like
I'm
glasses
not a
and
Ken
everything.
doll, where they stamp out your hair.
So anyway, we're gonna bring on our
Oh,
first
by
guest.
the way, that movie, Bobby, do not go see it. It's a horrible movie, putting men down. How do you put men down? That's disgraceful. I love men.
Anyway, we're gonna bring on our first guest. Let's see if we can hear him and get him in the visual so we can see him. Go ahead and bring him in, Juan. Hey, Harvey.
Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Ron.
Harvey Brownstone. So you're a landsman of mine.
What a treat to finally meet the both of you. And Ron, your hair is gorgeous.
No, but I mean, I don't like it combed. I never did. It looks like a wig. It's so much hair that if you comb it, it looks like a wig. Anyway, enough
Hold on,
about
let me
that.
make an introduction.
So
All right,
what-
everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, former judge, author, speaker, and television host, Harvey Brownstone. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you. We've never had a judge on before.
Well, it's a thrill to be here. I'm a big fan of both of yours, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
thank
So
you.
this is Ron, like you know, and this is Astro. Show him Astro.
Oh, he's sleeping. Let him sleep.
Okay, so he doesn't wake us up.
Your house is gorgeous. Are you in Palm Springs?
No, he's
No, I'm in Toronto.
That house looks like a Palm Springs house.
That's because that's just a background. That's not his house,
Oh, that's
right?
not your
Is that
house.
really your house?
That's really my house, and I did design it to be a Palm Springs type house. So, Ron, I love you.
No, really. I tell the truth.
Do you play the piano?
If it
No,
looked
my boyfriend does.
Okay.
if your house looked like a Ninth Avenue slum, I would not say anything.
Actually, so we
It's
have
absolutely gorgeous. My style.
a bunch of people in the chat room. It's filling up. Please say hi to everybody in the chat room.
Hi, everybody. So nice to have you here.
Yes, it's going to
So,
be
so
fun.
you let us know that you're gay by saying boyfriend, so that opens a door. You may regret the door you
No,
opened.
he's Canada's first gay openly judge.
Well, I don't know. I don't research.
I know I do the research, so I'm doing the bragging. So hang on, let
No,
me.
wait, let me explain something. Harvey, if my interviews sounded rehearsed, they wouldn't be as good as they are. I never research any of my guests.
I do.
I find out from them in the interview. Because the moment you're rehearsed, it sounds like shit.
Well, now you tell me. I wish you'd have told me that when we started our show 2 years ago.
No, but well, that's a success of our show. It's the spontaneity of it. We don't know. I mean, we get reactions that are normal and natural.
Hang on, I want to brag for you a little bit,
Yes,
Harvey.
yes,
So,
yes.
all right, you guys. So, first, you're Canada's first openly gay judge. Now, and this is something that I really have a question about. So, it said that you are the first sitting judge to host a TV show. It's Family Matters with Justice Harvey Brownstone. And I want to know what that means because Judge Judy's been on forever. Does that mean Judge Judy's not a sitting judge?
That's right. Judge Judy had to leave the bench when she accepted a television deal with CBS. So, but I was a sitting judge for the 2 years that we had our show on TV. And of course, because I was a sitting judge, I had to keep it very, I used to say it was like pablum, no flavor and no texture.
That's cool, though.
My first question to you is, what makes you think that you have the right to tell people that they're wrong and to send them to jail for a period of time? I mean, who the hell are you? You're not God. You're just a human being. And I often want to say that to these judges that I've met quite a few. We have friends. And I tell them the same thing. And they say, well, we go by the book, the law book. Is that true, or do you go by personal feelings? If I was before you and I said, listen, fucko, you think you're going to send me to jail? Guess what? You're not. Would you dislike me and give me a longer term, a longer sentence?
I don't think anybody could dislike you, Ron. But to answer to answer your question, I think you've raised a really great point about what it's like to be a judge. And one of the reasons I wanted to get myself appointed was because that's how I felt as a lawyer. So bravo to you for picking up on what is essentially the conflict, the inner conflict that a good judge should have, because we're not better than anybody else and we don't have the right to judge other people, but we do assess other people's behavior. And if someone behaves in a way that does break the law, I think society expects somebody to be in a position to hold them accountable. And that's what I tried to do. I didn't judge people. I just tried to assess the behavior and apply. I wasn't really throwing the book at them. I was trying to be a problem solver. That's how I approached the job.
Well, if I were a judge and I had a pedophile in front of me, I'd send him to life term for 5 times. But if the guy is tall, gorgeous, and stunning, I let him go.
Yeah, right.
I just say, goodbye, you're off. Goodbye, you're free.
Actually, hold on. We should tell everybody though too. So you also are the first sitting judge to write a best-selling book, Tug of War, and it's a judge's verdict on separation, custody, and the bitter realities of family court. So you're a family court judge. We should tell everybody, which is different.
Well, I was a family court judge for 19 years, and then I switched over to criminal court.
Wow.
And I tell you why I did that. My own relationship with my partner of 26 years broke up when I found out he was cheating on me. And from that day on, I couldn't bear being in family court dealing with everybody else's breakup when I was had to deal with my own.
Okay.
So I switched over to criminal court, and I did that. In total, I was a judge for 26 years, and then I finally came to my senses for all of the reasons Ron has mentioned, and I became a talk show host. It's kind of weird, eh?
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Listen to me. If I were you, with your power as a judge, I would frame the ex-boyfriend, have him sent to you before you in the courtroom, and then sentence him to life. But the only problem is, if you sentence him to life in jail, you'd be doing him a favor, because he might be everybody's bottom in the jail and just love every moment of it. So you have to give him the chair and kill him.
Well, let me tell you, if they could get it up, it's theirs.
So actually, say hi to B. Claudia. She's in the chat
I
room
love
in
you,
Germany.
Bobby.
She says
I
your book.
really do. I love
She's-
you.
hang on. Say,
You're a good guy.
say hi to B. Claudia. She's in Germany. She says your book is awesome. And
Oh,
tell us a little bit about the book, real quick, since we're on it, just so we can see. It says you went on an 18-month 80-city tour. That's a big deal. That's not like a little book.
Repeat that.
He wrote a book. It became a bestseller, and he went on an 18-month 80-city tour promoting it.
You have to speak clearly, because the 80-city tour didn't come out right.
What did you say?
It came out like an idiot sewer.
Oh.
He's an idiot sewer.
So tell us a little bit about the book, so we can promote it for
Just
you a
like
little
Jimmy
bit.
when he says
Horror.
it's a horror show. You know what he says? We had a woman on one day. He said, so you're a horror show. And she said, what? He called her a whore. No, horror.
How do you say horror?
But you know, I totally get that, Ron, because one day in court, I said to some nice guy that had done something bad, I said, you know, your heart is in the right place. And he thought I said your heart on is in the right place.
Well, that's because he was having a fantasy about you.
Oh, I'm getting a little warm.
No, but that's why he thought that. In other words, think about it. Think about it.
Well, you know, that's just so funny. As far as the book goes, I was just very frustrated as a family court judge that by the time people came into court and appeared in front of me, they had already geared themselves up for World War III, you know, with their ex and fighting over their kids. And family court is a terrible place for families, and litigation is a terrible thing for children. And I always felt that family court should be the last resort, that parents who break up should be responsible enough to put aside all their hatred and their animosity and their bitterness and work out what's best for their children. Because you could be an ex-husband, ex-wife, but you're never going to be an ex-mother or an ex-father.
Right.
And so I wrote this book trying to help people understand that there are alternatives to family court, and that if they are going to go to family court, this is what they're going to expect to have happen. And this is what judges are going to expect from them. You know, we're not in the vengeance business. And the truth is, and you know, you guys know this, we've all been through breakups before, and everybody feels like a victim. You know, even men that beat up their wives, they still feel like they're victims. You know, she made me do it.
Not true. I beat the shit out of Jimmy daily. And I don't feel anything. I want to beat him again.
Yeah.
No, really. Like after the show is over, I'm going to beat him all over this house. I knock him through the walls. I punch the shit out of him.
Yeah, right.
So, and I feel nothing but joy.
Yeah, well, maybe he feels joy too. He's still with you.
No, you know why I beat him up? And I
Why?
told him, this is only a sample of what you're going to get if you cheat on me. Because if you cheat on me, then you're really going to get a beating. Meanwhile, he's laying there with his eye hanging out, blood, teeth.
Yeah,
missing.
right.
He's got cut.
Ron, have you looked, Ron,
Of course, I'm joking, you stupid little fool.
Ron,
That's like
have
a-
you looked in the mirror, Ron? Who the hell would ever cheat on you?
Any gorgeous?
Oh, God, please, that's very kind of you. Who would ever cheat on me? a guy I used to go out with.
Really?
Yeah, he cheated on me, and I got rid of him real quick.
Me too, baby.
Yeah, you know.
So wait, tell us about the new
Let
one.
me explain that, Harvey. You cheat on me. No, first of all, if you're with me, I'm denying many men a great pleasure.
Yes.
Right? So therefore, I have men that want to go to bed with me, and I say no. I have people on Facebook that send me messages you would drop dead from. One time, a guy sent me a picture of his penis,
Really?
and I sent it back. I said it's 8 inches. I said it's about 4 inches too short, and I sent it back with that note just to upset him because he thought 8 inches was a big deal. So I said it's 4 inches too short. Anyway,
Jimmy, you must be really special.
no, I just love, and when you love, you're blind. You know that. You know, you say, gee, he's perfect in every way. I wish it was, but it's not. But I'll deal with it.
Wait a second. So you went on an 80 city tour. Did you have a boyfriend then? Is that when he cheated, when you were on tour, or did he go with you on tour and cheat?
I think he was cheating the whole time, but I finally found out. I came home from work early one day and discovered everything that had been going on, and then I ended it. But that guy did me the biggest favor because my partner that I met after Kim is an angel, treats me like gold, and I'm so lucky. And you guys, I don't know, whatever you're doing, it's really working because you both have that recent glow of the satiated, happy guy.
We are, though.
Well, and listen, I'm 83 years old.
What?
Yes. I've been around the block a few times, and I've learned that you do not stay in a relationship that's not right for you. If the relationship stinks and it's painful as hell, dump it. Go seek. My mother used to say there's a lid for every pot, and Jimmy's a pot. No, Jimmy's my lid. No, Jimmy and I love each other very much. We're married 10 years, going on 11, and it's a mature love. You know, when I was 19, my first lover, I saw him, I was melting. I was in heat. I didn't know, first of all, I was mafia. I didn't even know that. I couldn't have cared less. I just knew that I oh my God, No, I was dating a lot before Jimmy, and I really scrutinized all the guys I dated.
He was dating 4 people when he met me.
4 people. And I wouldn't make the mistakes again. What am I talking about? I talked myself into I don't know where I am.
Wait, so how did you meet your new boyfriend?
Yes.
I met him on Match.com.
Oh, good for
Go
you.
away from me. Are you serious?
I didn't even know they had gay people on Match.com. I just thought it was straight people.
Get real. Really?
Not only that, we met, I was only online 1 week. And, I was a bit nervous about it because I was a judge at the time, and it was I didn't really think it was maybe appropriate to put myself out there, but I thought, what the hell? This is a legitimate way to meet people. And my partner, Steve, saw me and sent me a little message, and we had coffee at Starbucks that night. And let me tell you,
I know what you did.
We did it.
No, I know what you did, that you got a guy in a week. You put nude pictures up of yourself. Absolutely. In all kinds of positions with all sorts of animals.
Well, all I know is whatever I did, it worked because we knew it immediately.
You're a good-looking guy. And the bald is sexy. Today, bald guys are sexy. In my day, bald guys would be so ashamed. But no, not today.
No, you look really good, too.
You're a handsome guy. I got news for you. If you were on whatever it was, .com, what did he say?
Match.com.
Match.com, and I saw you, I would definitely have said, listen, do you want to fall in love with me? I'm fabulous.
Well, you know what? You did really well with Jimmy. I could never compete with him because I got to tell you, I don't have 12 inches.
No, neither does Jimmy. God damn it, neither does Jimmy. Shit. But anyway, so your boyfriend didn't know the old Italian Brooklyn saying, don't eat where you shit. And he was banging that guy in your house. And you came home, you found him.
That's terrible.
So did you knock him around a little? or threatened to
You know
kill him?
what? I picked myself up off the floor and I said, this is over. And, you know, it was hard and it was kind of embarrassing because we were legally married and all the judges came to
Really?
the wedding. And I thought, you know, I was the gay judge, right? So when same-sex marriage came to Canada, and it did come to Canada before the US, I was the one that was doing all those weddings. I officiated at thousands of weddings for American couples that came to Canada, and I was kind of the face and the voice of
Like
same-sex
a
marriage.
poster child of same-sex marriage.
That's what ended up happening. So it was kind of embarrassing, Ron, that my own relationship didn't succeed. And of course, I had to question myself. Why didn't I know? Like, why couldn't I tell? How did I not know? But I will tell you, it made me a better judge, Ron, because I used to sit in court and I would have these, usually women would say to me, my husband was screwing around on me and I never knew and I can't believe it. And I used to sit there very judgmentally thinking, how could you not know? How could you not know that your spouse is cheating on you? Well, I'm going to tell you, it is possible to have a partner that's cheating on you long term and you don't even know it, because that's what happened to me.
Well, you know, being my wonderful age that I am, I've lost my temper and my fighting because you cheat, you cheat, you cheat. I'm not stupid. I know the game. I've been out there. I know how to cheat because I've cheated. So I'm smart. If Jimmy cheated on me, I wouldn't make a big deal about it. I would simply go and cheat on him. In other words, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So if you want an open marriage where you go with a couple and I go with a couple, fine with me, as long as we can keep the marriage. Because to me, the marriage...
We don't like that, though. We don't do that.
No. To me, the marriage is more important. I am with Jimmy 24 hours a day as people. I am sexually with Jimmy about, 3-4 minutes, not seconds, I think.
Yeah.
And then it's over. So am I going to throw away my marriage for 6 seconds of sex? No. You learn as you get older that gay people all cheat, I believe, at one point or another in their life, because men are hunters. And gay men are never satisfied with the same partner over and over and over again. It gets to be a little of this, a little of that, a little of the other, and you know it's coming, so it's boring. I mean, you blow bubbles of bubble gum, you read a magazine while it's happening. You know, that's how sexy sex gets. So the new number you just saw walking down the street, as hot as can be, is fabulous. But you don't stop and say, I'm going to do the same thing with that number that I do with my husband. So what's the big deal? Why jeopardize my marriage because of a trick? Now, if it was John Hamm, goodbye, baby.
Actually, he likes Jason Statham.
Oh, Jason Statham, double goodbye, baby.
I don't know. I think
Women said my get out of jail card is Jason Statham. So now, guess what? I might be in a movie with him. And
you
Jimmy,
better behave yourself because Jimmy deserves your loyalty.
He's so loyal,
Jason
it's not even
Statham.
funny.
There's no such thing. No, there's no such thing as loyalty.
It'll never
Oh, he's
happen.
straight anyway. He's straight. But if he were gay,
We're not into open. We're like totally like we're like a normal straight couple. We have 3 dogs. We have a
no,
house.
but
we have a fence.
we're not very popular. We live in a very gated community in Palm Springs, 80% gay people, and mostly couples. And they do 3-ways. And they found out that Jimmy and I are not interested. They don't.
So
speak
they don't
to
even
us.
talk to us.
They don't even talk to us because they think we're snobs and we're above.
We don't drink. We don't do drugs. We don't swap.
We really-
we don't do all the normal gay things. So we don't
We're
really fit.
we're really vanilla, is what they call us.
Well, I'm with you guys. I mean, I don't do orgies anymore. I don't know who to thank. And it's too much laundry.
Yeah.
Now wait, did you write this kind of comedy in your book as well?
No, I could never do that as a judge, Ron. I would have
No,
been thrown out.
your book you wrote.
It's about being a judge.
I know that, but you could have put.
No,
some,
it's about family court. It's not
but you
about
could
that.
listen. There's humor in tragedy.
Yeah, but
is
you know
weird.
what? When you're a member of the judiciary, you have to be very, very conservative and careful with every word. That's why I didn't like doing the TV show. I mean, the book was really great because it gave people a lot of information. And I never thought it would be a bestseller, but I was thrilled that it was. All the money went to the Children's Wish Foundation. I was thrilled about that. But the TV show, you know, you can't express any opinions when you're a judge about anything that you might have to adjudicate over. And you can't talk about ongoing cases. You have to be very, very careful. And, you know, I was the only judge in the world that was still sitting as a judge and appearing on television. But then I retired, thank God. And now I can just be myself.
Yeah, that's good. But I mean, it's
Well,
actually quite an accomplishment.
Judge Judy is very funny. But as you said, she's no longer a judge.
No.
She's a television personality.
No.
So, you being a television personality, couldn't you stay there and been funny? I mean, you're funny as all hell now.
Well,
Because-
now, you know what I do? I decided to start an interview show because I use my technique that I used in the courtroom as a lawyer. I'm not really interviewing people. I'm conducting an examination in chief. And if you ever watch my show, you'll see, like, I don't have the gift of your spontaneity and your ability to create a very intimate conversation with people that instantly become your friends. I just don't have that skill. So my interviews are very structured and they're deep. And it's like I say, it's almost like being in court.
Listen,
Actually, I watched some of them,
The
though. They
reason
were
I
good.
have that talent that I have is because for years and years and years, I did stand-up comedy in straight nightclubs performing as Jane Russell.
Wow.
That's right. Who was my best friend for many, until she died. Jane and I were buddies forever. And I performed as Jane. You know, you probably say, how could you look like Jane? I absolutely did, you know, through all the techniques that we do. So I've had 350 people for dinner in supper clubs where I worked. And I was able to make them laugh when I wanted to. I was able to make them quiet down when I wanted to without them ever knowing that I was controlling them. So that's what you have to learn in interviewing. You control. I never let a guest control me. The moment they do, you look like shit. One time I had some broad come on our show. I walked off.
Really? Why? What happened?
She was a twat, a cunt, a real jerk. I couldn't give another better
We
word.
haven't been very many, so we've been on
No.
the air for 16 years.
And one time I had a little bit of a fight with Randy Edelman, the fabulous composer, who
Yeah.
now is my dearest and best friend, and we adore each other in real life. But when he came on the show, he thought he was going to be a very smart Jewish boy. He didn't realize I'm a Jew from Brooklyn. So you don't play around with an Italian Jew from Brooklyn because you lose. The Italian is vicious, the Jew is smart, so you can't beat
He's great. He's a great guest.
And we love Randy Edelman. I want him back on so I could torture him.
I'm sitting here in shock that because you said you're 83, you don't look, you look like 63.
That's a very nice compliment. Thank you. And no face lifts, nothing, no Botox, nothing in my face. It's
So you
not,
mean when you cross your legs, your mouth isn't going to fly open?
no, but when I cross my legs, the volume from my rectum sucks the furniture in.
So wait, let's tell everybody about your show a little bit. So you have a show. It's called Harvey Brownstone Interviews. How long have you been doing the show?
The show is 2.5 years we've been doing the show. And really, it was started out as a hobby. I never expected we'd end up on television in the UK or with a manager and a publicist. And, you know, it's really, we have a, believe it or not, there's now a Harvey Brownstone
Coffee.
A Harvey Brownstone coffee.
I love it.
Yeah,
Listen.
it was. It's just, you know what I think it is. There's not a lot of interviewers anymore that do what I do. You know, I like you. I grew up with Dick Cavett and Merv Griffin and Mike Douglas and Barbara Walters and Larry King and James Lipton. They're all gone, and there's nobody really doing these in-depth interviews. And I thought maybe there would be a market for it, and nobody was more surprised than me when we started getting big stars and. We get 5 million viewers a month, and then we got picked up by television in the UK, and we've got 2.7 million viewers a week watching the show there. Nobody's more surprised than me.
How do we get to your show?
Well, we have a YouTube channel. Harvey Brownstone Interviews is the YouTube channel, or there's the website, harveybrownstoneInterviews.com. And of course, in the UK, we're on XPTV1, the XPTV1 network. We're on every Wednesday and Friday.
Good. You know,
I can't wait to get you guys on my show.
Is the Wednesday show the same then? Like you on Friday, so it airs twice.
Yeah, the show airs twice a week.
14.
Do you think that the UK audience is ready for the Jimmy Star and Ron Russell and Harvey Brownstone combo?
Oh, they absolutely are. Like, we have a huge following.
Wait a minute.
Wait. Let me
No,
ask the question.
But I have to tell a story that doesn't.
No, wait. I have
stop,
almost a half a million followers in the UK. So yeah, our show's popular.
Jimmy, don't take him on. He's going to beat you up later.
No, this is a true story. I met Jimmy. I had a television show. I interviewed the legends of Hollywood, from Lauren Bacall down all the way to, I don't know who the hell, everybody.
Tippi
Hedren, all the biggest stars of old
Jane Russell?
Jane Russell.
All of the old stars of Hollywood.
Wow.
Now I meet Jimmy, and Jimmy said, come on my radio show. It was just radio. I said, I don't do radio. I don't know how to do radio because I don't see people. I don't know when they stop talking. So I was overrunning everybody. Now, Jimmy said to me, Ron, I don't think you're going to work out too well because you're a little too wild, a little too risque, a little too vulgar, and he went on with a list like I was a Dracula. Well, as time went on and years passed, we just did 1 billion
100 million.
100 million, billion
1.1 billion
downloads. And I said to Jimmy all the time, see, people like it. People like the honesty. They like the fact that I tell everybody, pretend we're in Brooklyn, in my kitchen, having Entenmann's coffee cake and coffee, and we're bullshitting. Because
Muzzle tough on all your success.
Well, no, because this is what we do in Brooklyn.
It took us a lot longer though, because if you got 2.5 million people in the UK or whatever, or 2.5 million people a week, I mean, it took us years to get there. So kudos to you.
Yeah,
you.
That was the TV network that did that. I don't even know how that happened. But I was thrilled to get a following on YouTube because, you know, we don't have an advertising budget. I'm not known in show business, and I can't even believe that we're getting stars to come on my show. I mean, Ron, I can understand you interviewing legendary stars because you're a celebrity yourself.
No, I knew them mostly. Kay Ballard was my dear friend, okay?
Oh, I love her.
Tippi Hedren is a buddy of mine. These people I knew socially. I hung out with them. Rock Hudson, Tab Hunter, all these people I knew growing up. So it was easy for me to interview them because I knew them. I've been at parties with them. I felt like, hey, look, come on. But if I didn't know any of these stars, I think it would have been difficult to handle them.
Wait, I want to brag for you though, because first of all, we have shared on your show in the last 2 years. We have many crossover artists and people that we've interviewed.
And so, you did Stephanie Powers.
Hang on, wait, let me just go through it.
I met her at Shelley Winter's birthday party.
All right, so you guys, first of all, Harvey's show is called Harvey Brownstone Interviews. He does celebrities, authors, and prominent individuals. I love that how you added that prominent individuals thing. That was really cool. So here's some of the people that he's had, you guys, and if we've had them on our show, I'm going to tell you that we've also had them. Robert Wagner, Air Supply, we had Air Supply. Diane Ladd, Louis Gossett Jr., Stephanie Powers, Sharon Gless, Tony Orlando we had on the show, Tommy James we had on the show, Loretta Swit, Lonnie Anderson, Debbie Boone, John Edwards, Tony Tennille, Bob Gunton we had on the show, Kiki Epson we had on the show, Melissa Manchester, Butch Patrick, Linda Eder, I love Linda Eder, Wilson Cruz, Curtis Stigers, Michael Learned, we just met her at a party last year, Rich Little, Joan Van Ark we know, but she hasn't been on the show, Mamie Van Doren's coming on the show, Adrienne Barbeau.
Mamie Van Doren's coming on the show?
Yes. Adrienne Barbeau has been on the show. Paul Williams told me he'll come on the show. And Leslie Ann Warren, who I want to get on the show. So you had a great one.
Let me tell you my Mamie Van Doren story. I know Mamie well. We were at a theater, and it was break time at the theater, and we all went out in the lobby and sat on the steps. And I'm sitting there with Mamie Van Doren, and her skirt is all the way up to her wazoo. And I said, you know, Mamie, I know how old you are. I said, you got some pair of gams for your age. You don't have one vein, one wrinkle, nothing. I said, what'd you have, a stocking job done. That's where they cut you in the groin and pull your legs up. She didn't answer. Now she went like that, and I saw scars here. So I know she had that woman has had every inch of her body tightened, even her wazoo.
She looks fabulous.
Fabulous isn't the word. She's Dutch, and she's the sweetest gal. And Mamie and I had a ball together. We really had
She has a book coming out, so
she's risque like I am.
She says she'll come on when the book comes out.
Yes, she's very risque. She's very Mr. Blackwell, who was my dearest friend in the world. Richard told me a story. When he lived on, I think it was Coldwater Canyon, there's an actor, I forgot his name, a handsome actor who lived up 2 houses, and he had a hot tub. And maybe he was screwing Mamie Van Doren in the hot tub, and she was moaning and screaming. He said you could hear the screams all the way down, I think it was Laurel Canyon, maybe. So Mamie Van Doren got around. She banged probably everybody in Hollywood. She outbanged Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe did the women as well as the men. Marilyn banged everybody. Tony Curtis, who was my good friend, said she was on her knees all the time.
That's
I mean, this is the stories that I talk about. This is why we have 1 billion people watching. People want to hear the dirt, the bullshit, the inside.
So tell us, who have been some of your favorite interviews?
Well, I certainly agree with Ron about Mamie Van Doren. I thought she was fascinating. What I really loved about her is that she owns her femininity and she owns her sexuality. And when I asked her about the casting couch, she was very forthright and said, yes, I slept with producers and I slept with directors in order to get the parts. I did it because I wanted to. I didn't do it because I was being exploited or because I was being made to do it. I did it because I wanted to. And I felt in this day and age where everybody's a victim, everybody's complaining about being exploited, there's something very refreshing about a woman who says, I did it because I wanted to, and I'm not a victim. So I loved her.
But you know what? Anyone in my business that said they didn't get to the top without sleeping somebody is a miracle. Even Betty Davis banged Willie Wyler for a movie, all right? And I knew Betty well. So, I mean, and the actor that Mamie Van Doren was screwing in the hot tub was Steve Cochran.
Oh, she had good taste.
Oh, her men were all
I don't know who Steve Cochran is.
gorgeous guy.
Yeah, she was really a favorite one. I got to say, I loved Ruta Lee. I think you know Ruta Lee.
Oh, yeah, we met her on. Yeah, we do know Ruta, yes.
Ruta's going to be in a movie I'm in.
I think Ruta's wonderful. I can't wait. Have you had her on your show?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to go back and watch it because I just think she's the best.
I forgot
But
to
you know,
mention Ruta
Stephanie
Lee.
Powers, when I met her at a Shelley Winter's birthday party, never stopped talking for an hour. I was amazed at how this woman just rapid fire spoke. Did she do that in the interview?
Yes, she did. And you know, our show is not live. It's edited.
Oh.
So that's a real blessing, Ron and Jimmy, because this is a woman, you know, I wanted to ask her about William Holden and about a lot of her movies, but she really wants to talk about the environment and about animal preservation. And it went on a long, long time. And we did have to edit about 20 minutes out of it because it became a lecture. And, you know, I don't know, maybe you could give me some advice. There are some people who don't seem to understand that an interview is not a monologue. An interview is a conversation. It's a dialogue.
We tell everybody that.
What I would say to Stephanie was, Stephanie, I love you to pieces. I'm so happy about the animals, but nobody really gives a shit. Now let's talk about William Holden, and then people will listen. And if she had a reaction to that, a negative one, too bad for you, Stephanie. So when I see you, I won't say hello. And if you like, you know, I take a shot. I don't really care. You know, when you're 83 years old, you don't give a fuck about anything anymore. It's your world. You own it. You lived it. This is my planet. And everybody has to dance to my music. If you don't like it, get the hell out of here. We're giving you 5 million people a week to sell your goodies. How dare you control me? You sit there, do nice.
He's not talking about you.
No, no. Listen, I'm going to tell you something. Where are you in Canada?
Toronto.
Oh, you're in Toronto. Wonderful. We're moving back to New York. We're moving to East Hampton. We're coming up to see you.
Oh, I can't wait to meet you in person.
Yes, we're coming.
Actually,
I love Toronto. I used to go to the gay bars.
I have a movie we're shooting in Toronto next year,
Yeah.
and I have another one. I have at least one movie that's being shot in Toronto next year.
But
too.
anyway, going back to controlling your guests, you think it's rude to do that. No, it is not rude. It's rude of them to control you and monopolize your show with the subject that they're dear to. They are Hollywood. They're not there to talk about Trump or Biden or their mother-in-law or their sister's ass. They're there to talk about Hollywood, movie stars, name dropping, storytelling. That's what people want.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what you should do.
And you've got some.
It's up.
I have to actually say, because so you have had some people that he won't know who they are, but for me, they're like really big. Linda Eder, Curtis Stigers. I love Curtis Stigers to death. Joan Van Ark, we actually know her, but we've never had her on the show. And Leslie Ann Warren, that would be another one. But you've had some really, for such a short amount of time and not doing it very long, your guest list is very impressive.
Now, do you have somebody out soliciting, or are they contacting you?
I do most of it myself, but I do now have a manager, and she does a lot of it. For example, she got us Sir Tim Rice. You know, I really wanted to get Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber on, and I didn't have any way of reaching these people, but she did. And, you know, we've got Elaine Page coming on, and we've got, you know, some of these people are so far beyond any possible connection I could have. So I do have a manager that helps me, you know, but like Linda Evans was wonderful. Joan Van Ark, if you get her on the show, she'll be terrific.
She was supposed to come on a couple of times, but we never got to. We never did.
Ron, can I ask you a question as an experienced interviewer? I found that the bigger they were, like the more famous they are and the more talented they are, the nicer they are. Did you find that?
I say that all the time. Betty Davis, who was the queen of Hollywood, there was nobody beats Betty Davis, came into my showroom I had on Robertson Boulevard to look for wallpaper for her bathroom. Well, I wound up telling her we have a toilet seat that's foam rubber and it's the same pattern as the wallpaper. And she said, "Oh, darling, that's wonderful. I will sit on it when I read scripts and be comfortable." So Betty Davis, I knew right there, opened a door for me. Betty loved risque jokes. That elegant woman in Now Voyager, not in real life. I said to her at a party one time up at her house in Havenhurst when she had the penthouse, I said, "Betty, I have never in my life seen the talent that you have, and I don't mean on the screen." "Oh, what do you mean?" I said, "I've never seen anybody inhale a cigarette and drink scotch at the same time. It's amazing that you could do that." She said, "You should see the other things I can do. You'd be so amazed." You know, she had that double entendre sort of sense of humor.
I have to say for you, going back to you, Lori, what's Lori? Lori Towers? Is it Lori Towers?
Oh, I love Lori.
Lori, because Lori's the one who reached out to me about having you come on the show originally, and she was fabulous, and she's very well. She's just super nice. I mean, very, very nice, and a great, warm welcome to her, and the way she reached out, and basically Ron, you know, has always been with all the like Turner Classic Movie stars, and I was always friends with like a lot of the '80s, like all the people who were famous in the '80s, because that's my generation. You know what I mean? So
well, that's what I, you know, like when we got Tony Tennille and Tony Orlando and a lot of these people
We love him.
He's a wonderful guy. Wonderful guy. He came on our show twice. I was so thrilled.
Yeah, too. We had him on twice too.
And now he's become a personal friend.
He's a beautiful human being, and you know, sometimes I can't even believe, like when we had Lucy Arnaz on, you know, I was the biggest Lucille Ball fan, and the thought that I had her daughter on my show, I couldn't believe it.
You know who's a big one that you had that I think Ron would like a lot, and hopefully she was a good guest, and that was you had Peggy Lee's granddaughter.
Yeah, we're having.
I'm working on getting her.
She's coming.
Oh, I think she would love to come on your show, and she is. You know, she looks a bit like Peggy Lee, and she honors her grandmother's legacy with such dignity and such class. I'm so impressed. You know, we've had a lot of children of stars. That's one of the big things we do. We've had Hedy Lamar's son, and we had Errol Flynn's.
I knew him. I knew him.
She came on. We've had a lot, Dean Martin's daughter, and we've had Roy Rogers' kids, and like lots
We had
and lots.
Roy Rogers. We had Roy Rogers.
Not
We also
him.
had Rogers' kids, and we also had. I think you had like one of the Lugosis. We had.
We had no. I think you mean Boris Karloff.
Oh, Karloff, that's it. Yes, Boris Karloff, which I met her many years ago.
The best
And
show.
we had Ava Gardner's niece was on, and we had Joan Crawford's grandson. He's a sweetheart.
Oh, that's cool.
Crawford. Mm. Anyway, the best show I liked was when Arlene Dahl, who was who I knew. I wasn't my friend, but I knew Arlene, and I interviewed her. And I said, Arlene, is it true when you were married to Lex Barker, and he was molesting Lana Turner's daughter Cheryl at 10 years old for over a year? Oh yeah, he was screwing her. Well, one night she bled badly and had to be taken to the hospital. And Lana Turner found out about it and got a gun and went after Lex Barker and said, if you ever go near my daughter again, I will kill you. She was a little nuts, Lana Turner. She confused murder in movies with the real life. So Arlene Dahl turns around to me and she said, Ron, that's an absolute lie. Lex Barker had a package so large, had he ever entered a 10-year-old, he would have killed her. That show went over the charts. I mean, I don't think any talk show will ever get the rating. It's on YouTube. And it's on YouTube, it's got like 3 zillion people are talking about it. They're all saying, you've got to see this show. It's unbelievable.
We don't get.
Wait, so that's what people want. Now, 40 or 50 years ago, I would never have done that because it wasn't elegant, it wasn't classy, and it wasn't proper. Because the audience was different. The audience was respectful, well-dressed, well-mannered. People, you know what the world was like years ago. Today, we have a world of insanity, and people want insanity. So if you give them a show with insanity, you're a hit.
Well, that's good advice. I'm gonna see if I can incorporate that somehow into my style.
No, you say you should do it because I'll smack you
Actually,
around.
I've
Don't
actually-
imitate our show. No, seriously.
I've actually watched some of your shows.
I've never. Now I will.
I've watched some of your shows. I thought they were done very well, very professional. Your guests are really, really good, and you do have your own style, which really, that's the whole thing, is everybody has to have their own style. Like, everybody comes and tries to put a 2-member combination and do the stuff we do, but they don't get any views
They fell apart.
because they're not trying to be themselves and come up with their own ideas. You've got your own idea, the way you want to do it. Nobody else is doing it. So you've created a niche for yourself, and that's what people will like is your niche.
I got an email from somebody that said, oh, I watched a show and the guy was trying to be you, Ron, and he was so terrible, I couldn't even stand it for another minute. And I wrote back, I said, gee, you think I'm terrible? I'm sorry. She said, no, you're wonderful. It was the way he was trying to do your act that was terrible. I said,
Well, I think you've really hit on something. You have to be yourself. I don't think anybody could imitate either of you or duplicate the chemistry between you. It's
Right.
natural, it's sincere, it's authentic. And I knew when I started this that I would have, I can't ignore the fact that I spent 26 years as a judge in a courtroom and that I have a certain way of asking questions. And the nice thing about the internet is that there is a market. There's a niche audience for everybody.
Everyone. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
who?
Excuse me. Years ago, when I worked, let's say, New Jersey, the Cherry Hill Theater, very chic, very elegant, all wealthy people. I only had, I think, 150 in that audience twice a night. A drink show and a dinner show. You couldn't get out there. Today, all I have to do is one show here, and 5 million people see it. So of course we're going to get out there easier, and of course we can bring us. Out of the 150 people at Cherry Hill, 10 may have not liked me. But out of 5 million, if 2 million don't, there are 3 million that do. Point. Did I make any sense, or am I getting
That
senile?
makes sense.
I guess I'm getting senile.
No, I think that's the formula to your success, Ron, is that you are yourself. You don't care. Fuck them if they can't take a joke.
Oh, absolutely.
You're going to be yourselves. You know that there's an audience of people who appreciate you, who enjoy the humor, who feel like you keep them company when they're watching your show, because that's how I feel. When I watch you, I feel like I'm kind of eavesdropping on a conversation between friends.
No, You're in
That's
our-
what it's supposed to be, though.
No,
A conversation between friends.
You're in my kitchen in Brooklyn having Entenmann's cake with coffee. That's what I do. Another thing, as a child growing up in Brooklyn, if you were a liar, oh, you got beaten up by the other kids. Liar, liar, set your house on fire, you're no good. Boom, boom, boom. You couldn't lie from Brooklyn. My friends today, if you go and you tell a story, they say, oh, you're bullshitting. You're full of crap. That never happened. And you got to prove it. So I grew up with lying being the worst thing that anyone could ever do. And I promise you, and I'm not saying it because I lie, it's cover up. I don't lie because it's stupid to lie. You get caught in it, it's embarrassing, and it's not necessary. Tell people what you feel in your heart. Tell the truth. Tell a story as it is, the truth. And people know the difference between bullshit and real.
Well, the thing that fascinates me about you now, Jimmy's different. Jimmy does research, but Ron, you don't do any preparation. You want it to be totally spontaneous.
Totally. So I had no idea who you
I
are.
have to make
I
sure.
hate to tell you, but I'm sorry. But I don't watch other people's work because I don't even watch my shows, to be quite frank. I had no idea who you were. He just said to me, be conservative. He's a judge. I said, oh, well. Me be conservative? What can I do? So I thought to
Yeah, but
myself,
he played back right away, so we knew
no,
it was
but
okay.
wait a minute. So I thought to myself, Judge, oh shit. Now I have to sit there like pinched and go, hello, how are you? But
Wait, I want to go because we
No,
only
but
have a
wait
few
a
minutes.
minute.
We only have a few minutes, and I want to talk about him.
You turned out to be my buddy. You turned out to be a sweetheart, a mensch, a delight. I will certainly watch your shows now. And if I see something I think you might do better, I will call you and tell you, hey, listen, Harvey, maybe you want to do that and do this. Because I
that
think
would mean the world to me, Ron. Thank you so much. Well, I'm in love with you both. The moment Lori told me about your show, I started watching and I got hooked, of course. And I feel like you're my good friends. And when you move to New York, I'm coming down there and I want to go to Brooklyn and I want to have intimate speak with you.
you're going to come out to our house.
We're gonna live in East Hampton now.
We're going to live in East Hampton.
Beautiful. I can't wait. I will bring the Entenmann's cake. How's that?
Okay, but also you have to dress in Dolce & Gabbana and Gucci
No, you
because
don't.
it's so friggin' snobby there. Man.
Oh, he's
So
joking.
you got to go there looking like forget about it. You got to drive.
Anyway, I have other questions. All right,
We'll talk
Just-
about that the next time you come on.
We'll bring you on again anyway
Oh, yeah,
because you're fun.
Harvey's
We
coming.
like you.
Harvey's coming back.
So
I
let me
would love that. I want to get you guys on my show.
absolutely.
Absolutely,
So
we'd
tell me
love it.
this. Let's go to like a bucket list, a wish list. So you've had all these great people. If you could give me somebody living and somebody dead that you would love to interview and have on your show, just to give us an idea of something that you think would be really, really cool.
You know, I would love to have had Princess Diana on my show. I really feel that she never got any good interview ever. And as for someone living, I would love to get Barbara Streisand.
Oh, that's
Okay, Harvey, I have to make a point. My daughter grew up with best friend is Lara Spencer, ABC Good Morning America. And Lara did do an interview with Lady Di. And it was a lovely interview. So there was an interview done by Lara Spencer for ABC. When she
Well,
went
I was very lucky. Princess Diana's best friend and vocal coach wrote a book about her last year, and he came on the show and talked about her very intimately. And that was quite an experience. I have to say, I was very moved by what he had to say.
I love it.
Well, she was a victim of the Queen. There's no question.
Wait, who was the person that you said that would be living?
The person living was Barbara Streisand.
Oh, yeah, Barbara Streisand. Okay. Oh no, I like Barbara Streisand. I paid $1,000 a ticket to go see her.
Me
back in the
too.
day.
That worked out to exactly $2.25 a note.
Yeah, you're right. Which is just freaking like
You're
terrible.
very funny. You have to do that. Do that on your interviews. Really. Harvey,
I don't have the years of experience and the confidence that you have, Ron. I'm going to try and channel you, but I don't think I could do it.
Harvey, you're not rehearsed now. So do it. This is you. This is you, who you are. You're absolutely delightful.
We're not rehearsed. Even me, when I talk, I have notes just to make sure because I knew you had a coffee line. I knew you have the show, and I wanted to talk about your background. But in general, all the rest of the
listen,
conversation is just made up.
When I do a film, My grammar is perfect because I'm reading lines that someone wrote that knew how to speak English well. When I'm here, I speak Brooklyn because that's who I am. So this thing I'm saying about you is be who you are. You're not a judge anymore. I think you're a good comedian and delightful
Very witty.
and enjoyable, and that would make you more wanting. I would watch your show more if I got more of this and less than.
Well, I'm going to take that to heart. I love you both so much. I'm so grateful that you included me on your show. It's a great honor and a real thrill.
It's
No,
not.
it's very
I'm not
good.
going to say that when I'm on your show. When I'm on your show, I'm going to say Harvey is so lucky to have us. We were bored. Jimmy and I were home, bored to death. And I said, "What are we going to do?" He said, "We're going on Harvey's show." I said, "Well, you're on. It's okay. Let's do it."
Now, I think that you've got it going on.
Invent.
I
Harvey,
think that
invent.
you've got it going on. I have to be honest. I mean, before
I love him. I think you're terrific.
before Lori emailed me, I didn't know who you were. So then I did all the research because when she asked me, I had to go look and see what you had done before I actually said yes. Because a lot of people I get like 50 of those a week, but like most of those
Do you
people
know
I
how
don't
many
want.
friends we have made from our show?
Oh my
Oh,
God!
who doesn't want to be your friend? But
No,
I
but-
want to know, what's it like for you interviewing another interviewer? Is that weird?
Not the only time we've done it.
I
We've done
don't.
it
I
about
don't.
4
I
or 5
don't think.
times.
I don't think of you as an interviewer. I think of you as your personality. You're charming. You're witty. You're funny. I love you. I think you're great. I'm willing to give you my company, which is very, very important. No, seriously.
Very appreciated.
Shut up. Listen. Or maybe forget what I was going to say. It's important.
No, you don't think of me as an interviewer.
No, I do not. You're a person. Your occupation is interviewing, but so what? I don't.
You have such an interesting background. It makes you
Nothing
something.
intimidates me. That's the word.
But bringing you on makes something very different because
Oh.
out of all the interviewers, nobody has your background. You're the first interviewer I've ever seen, and I pay attention. I've got a huge following in social media. You're actually doing something that no one else has done, which makes you unique, all to yourself, and I love that. I like people who are unique.
I have to say this. We made a very dear friend who I love a lot, and his name is Julian Schlossberg. You know who Julian Schlossberg is? And he's now become my best friend. And I want to tell everybody out there, I finally read the book entirely, and his book is beyond fabulous. It's funny. It's
I'm gonna be a
interesting.
good guest,
He
actually, for your
drops
show. names.
It's a book that you have to get, folks. And the title of the book is Jesus. I forgot. That's not the title.
Actually, he's a good name. I have some good guests that. could
What
go
was
work for
Julian?
you.
The title of Julian's
forgot.
book? Oh,
Try not to hold it against me.
try not to hold it against me. Go out and buy it. It is absolutely going back to 1940, when Julian was born and how he
He's
raised.
friends with. As a matter of fact, he's best friends with Barbara Streisand, so that might give you an in to get to Barbara Streisand.
Right. Listen, we'll tell Julian about you and for him to go on your show. He's a wonderful guest and a wonderful guy, and we love him a lot.
So you guys, listen, if you want to find Harvey's shows, you can go on YouTube. It's Harvey Brownstone Interviews. The website is harveybrownstoneInterviews.com. His Instagram is at Harvey Brownstone Interviews, right? Yeah, at Harvey Brownstone Interviews. You can see links to all the shows he's done. He posts everything up there. He makes cute little graphics and everything. He's very, very good at it. We want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And we can't wait to actually meet you in person, which will happen soon.
And no bullshit, because I love Toronto. And in the summer, I told Jimmy I'm going to take him to Niagara Falls and put him in a barrel and throw him over and see if he makes it. You know what a wonderful show that's going to be, Harvey? We're
I
gonna
will be at the bottom of the waterfalls to catch you, Jim.
Good, thank you, Harvey.
No, that show is going to really make the top ratings.
By the way, everybody in the chat room is saying you're a great guest. So
Isn't he a great guest, everybody?
Go and tell everybody how do they get your coffee, real quick. We got 1 minute.
Oh, HollywoodBlends.com. It's the Harvey Brownstone Talk Show Blend.
There we go. All right, you guys.
All right,
And
lots
this-
of love to you both. Thank you so much for having me on that show. I loved it, and I love you. And I don't believe you're 83. I want a birth certificate.
Yeah, hang on.
I want to say this. The guy that you were with that cheated on you, schmuck, look what you lost.
That's right.
Thank you. Oh my God, I love you even more now.
I do.
and please tell your new significant
Bye-bye,
other
Harvey.
hello. All right.
See you soon.
Bye-bye, Harvey.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye, baby. He's a
Yay! What a
sweetheart.
great guest.
He is such a sweetheart. You just want to eat him up. Isn't he adorable?
No, he's a great
What
guest.
a nice guy.
All right, you
What a
guys.
sweet fella.
Now we're going to bring on our next guest, who we didn't play a music thing because he should already be there. Maybe we play music later if we get. So go ahead and Juan, let's go ahead and bring Lou on. Is he there? Hey, Lou!
Look at this. Wow.
Live from a cabana somewhere in some beach club on Long Island. Your future home.
Well, meanwhile, you are so good looking.
Oh, please.
No, wait,
Please.
stop. I have to tell
Thank
the,
you.
I have to tell all the women watching, make sure the batteries in your vibrator are new, or plug in your vibrator and charge because this guy is hot.
Oh, God. Thank you so much. And I've been listening to the last few minutes of your show. You guys are great. And you know what? I was
What?
actually fired by Barbara Streisand. I heard you guys talking about Barbara Streisand. I was fired from the set of Funny Girl when I was 7 years old because I told her to fix her nose after she yelled at me. You believe that?
No, you
That was the
didn't.
last night when I was 7, yeah.
I love that.
I was fired on the spot, and I was crying like a baby because I saw my father and my mom getting yelled at also, and they fired me. And Anne Francis, remember the great Anne Francis? She took me to the side and said, look, we know that nobody likes this woman, and she's really nasty and mean, but you can't talk to her like that. And I have the picture on my wall, me in my little shorts crying with Anne Francis.
Now,
And Barbara Streisand experience.
are you Italian or Jewish?
I'm half Italian and half Ukrainian.
Oh, okay. That's why you're so handsome.
All right, hold on, everybody. Now we want to welcome to the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell, incredibly accomplished actor, producer, I think writer. He does a little bit of everything in Hollywood. Lou Martini Jr., hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor. I heard a lot about you guys, and I just had the pleasure of being introduced to Jimmy
But
personally.
this is my co-host Ron Russell. Say
Lou,
hi.
Where are you on Long Island?
The Sands. It's Atlantic Beach. Are we in Atlantic Beach? It's a old-time resort. I feel like the Flamingo Kid here. It's one of those old-time beach.
So you're in the five towns.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So I'm-
He's on
I did
vacation.
not want to reschedule with you guys because you're the hottest thing going. I says I don't want to reschedule. Take a chance of not getting on.
I'm from Long Island also. Originally Brooklyn, then Long Island.
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn now. I'm in Bay Ridge now. Still a good neighborhood.
Oh, Bay Ridge.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Well, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as
I
that.
know, we know. There's
That's
no,
what I
such,
say,
there's no
but-
such thing.
I say that to all my mafia friends. There's no such thing as the mafia.
Actually, he's friends with all of them because he knows. I'm sure he knows all the people that we've had on the show.
Oh, but I can't mention names because
Yeah, don't drop those names.
if you're familiar with Mill Basin, and okay, and my
Yeah.
cousin Bertha Sanzo, Louis Sanzo, they're dead, so I could talk about them.
Yeah.
He was a big mafia guy, Louis Sanzo.
Rest in peace.
Anyway, actually, did you know Gianni Russo?
I still know Gianni Russo.
Oh,
yes.
we had him on the show not too long ago, and we've had a whole bunch of cool people that have been.
That show must have been a 6-hour show, though, right? With Gianni.
Yeah, it was.
They put him on for 8 hours or whatever with his story.
Actually, because we only have the same amount of time for everybody, so we had to cut to the chase and get to what we wanted to talk.
Really, okay.
All right, you guys.
So wait a minute. So you're not a fan of Barbara Streisand's?
Talent-wise, fantastic. Human being-wise, not so much.
I heard that from a lot of people.
I've been doing it for a long time, and I know people that know her well and have worked with her and stuff, and just, it is what it is,
No, I've heard stories about her that are.
But talent-wise, you can't touch her. We all know that.
It's true. But Barbara has said herself, I'm only getting even with the people who were mean to me when I was trying to become famous.
Yeah, I could see that. I could absolutely see that. Sean Penn says the same thing, exactly.
She's mean to a lot of people because of that reason.
So one thing I'm going to tell you is you need to post more on your Instagram, and you guys can follow Lou on his Instagram. It's Lou Martini Jr. And there you go. IG is Lou Martini Jr. So you started out as a child actor because I know you were a child actor. You were like one of the kids in The Godfather, like at the wedding or something. So you've been doing this a long time then.
Yeah, my dad's side of the family, my dad and my uncles, they were all singers and entertainers and actors. And my dad actually was hired to play Luca Brasi in The Godfather. Shot one day, got sick, had a stroke, and passed away. And was Tony Montana in the film. And I'm actually the only actor to have principal work, what they call principal work, lines in Godfather 1 and The Sopranos. I did a scene where James Caan was taking the bridesmaid up the stairs to go do the fooling around thing. And 2 kids, we run by him being kids, and we run around the wedding cake in the kitchen. The first kid is me. That's a little bit of movie trivia.
There you go.
I did on The Sopranos in 2006.
Brooklyn accent.
What Brooklyn accent, huh? You're making fun of me. What, are you breaking my chops here? Hey,
I don't make them. Everybody makes.
you got an accent. I ain't got no accent.
See, they all make fun of me. They all say, "Oh my God, where are you from?" I said, "Brooklyn." They say, "Oh, we thought so. You speak like Brooklyn." I said, "Good."
No, your accent is very slight now.
Yeah,
How long have you
it's-
been in Palm Springs? A long time, right?
5 years.
Listen,
Oh, you just. Oh, I thought you were out there a long time. No.
I forget about it. Don't start with me because you
Forget
start.
about it. Hey, oh.
Hey, yo, what?
Come on.
You start with me, you're in big trouble because I
There
don't
you
give a
go.
shit.
Start with the wrong guy.
I don't care about nothing,
Hey,
you know.
yo.
Yo, so I have a very heavy Brooklyn accent, but I have toned it down a little.
I love your shirt. I like. Was that a leopard kind of print thing?
Yes.
When I'm in movies, they say, speak a little clearer, like lose your accent. I said, then I sound like a fag. I do. If I speak proper English, I sound like a big fucking fag. There's no question about it. Watch. So nice to meet you, Lou. I'm so happy you're on our show, like a big queen.
You're right. I just got a hard on. You're right. Yeah. I just got a hard on.
See that Brooklyn humor? God bless you. I love it.
So you guys
When I started out in the business, when I took it seriously after college, the first thing I did was take the speech classes, and everybody's like, "You're too New York, you're too New York." And I really tried to be not New York for about 5 years, and I didn't get a job. I said, "You know what? I'm going to be me, and the rest is history. I'm doing okay in the business just by being me." You know. So
Me too. I always play a cop. I play a cop, a priest, always a wise
Or a
guy.
wise guy.
I'm always a wise guy in the movie,
yeah.
all the time.
So hey, let me brag a little
So
bit
there's
for
a
Lou.
place for us.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And you know what? There ain't too many people that have our accents anymore.
Right. True.
Actually, you play mob guy in a lot of things, though. You're like mob guy a lot.
Well, lately now, the last, and I thank this is my wife's fault, but the best advice she ever gave me was about 5 years ago, I stopped dyeing my hair, and I let my hair go gray, and I grew the beard. Not stop working playing lawyers and politicians. Now put me in a whole completely different.
No, I agree.
Yeah. I did that about 5 years. I was actually working on Miss Maisel, the great show on Amazon. Miss Maisel.
We love that
And they
show.
cut my hair. I was doing a guest spot, and they cut my hair short, and the gray was coming in. And the hairdresser, who I know for many, many years, says, "Lou, you have a really nice head of gray hair in there. Why don't you think about letting that go?" And I went home that night. I told my wife, she said, "I've been telling you that for 5 years. You look like one of those OTB guys with the orange hair. Stop dyeing your hair." And I booked literally out of the gate 2 weeks later. I let it all grow in. 7 jobs in a row, including the recurring role I have on Law and Order SVU now that I'm blessed with. You know, and it's put me in a whole different, I guess, realm of work. Again, before it was always cops, mobsters, you know, janitors that beat their wives and that kind of stuff. But we're up on the chain a little bit, lawyers and politicians.
Yes, lawyers and so wait, I'm going to brag a little for you. All right, so here's some of the TV shows you guys could have seen Lou on: Bull, FBI, Most Wanted, Blue Bloods, Hunters for Life, The Marvelous Miss Maisel, Orange is the New Black, Vinyl, Sneaky Pete, The Deuce, Nurse Jackie, Girls, The Americans, White Collar. I know there's a bunch more. As the World Turns, that was my mom's favorite soap opera.
Yeah,
Sopranos, guys, he was on a bunch of episodes of The Sopranos. Also, he's on all the Law and Orders: Law and Order SVU, Law and Order Organized Crime. He was on Aquafina as Nora from Queens, and Just Like That, which we can't even watch anymore. Manifest. So he's been in tons and tons and tons of television shows, and that's just the ones I know. If they were on your resume, but I hadn't seen them, I didn't know what they were. I didn't write it down.
Well, that's a nice list you put together there.
Yeah, that's a nice list.
That's great.
So did you get to meet Aquafina?
Yes, I worked with her. She directed the episode I did. She was very, very nice.
I
did
love
a guest spot with B.D. Wong, who was also very nice. We did a really funny scene. I was a guy that had a coffee truck with a.
Remember when they did
Do I know her?
we've never met her, but Ocean's 11, they did the one with all the women with Sandra Bullock and everybody. She was one of those women. She's hilarious. I think Aquafina's
very talented girl. Very talented girl. Very talented.
So amazing. And then
I worked with Sophia Loren.
Wow. I dream about Sophia Loren.
And then we also
So did everybody on the set.
during the pandemic, we watch a lot of Tubi. And like 2 weeks ago, and I didn't know you were in this. I didn't recognize you in it. But we watched this movie called, what was it called? What the fuck was it called? It was called A Secret Promise. It's an older movie with Ione Skye and Talia Shire and stuff.
Oh,
and
I played the priest with a head cold.
it's a really good.
Very funny. Some sneezing bits in it.
Priest with a head.
It's a really good movie, though. Actually, we really enjoyed the movie. The guy who played the lead was super cute. I'm a big Ione Skye.
He was an Italian actor. I forget his name. Very nice guy.
I wrote it
That
down.
was a
By
nice set.
Ralph
It's on
Fieri.
TV now? Okay.
Yeah, it's on Tubi,
So,
so
wait,
we just watched it on Tubi.
So Lou, you live in the East Coast, right?
Yeah, I'm in Bay Ridge, and then we have a little place down the Jersey Shore that I love in Tom's River.
Okay, so you're East Coast. So we'll see you when we're moving to East Hampton.
I know. I heard the news.
I mean, I'm in your neck of the woods all the time.
Yeah. We got to get together. Absolutely,
Oh,
it's a
definitely.
must.
You know, there's a wonderful Italian restaurant next to the funeral parlor on Avenue. I forgot, but maybe you know it if it's still there. After the funeral, that they kill
Well,
somebody.
no, I'll do one better. We'll go to a place in Bay Ridge that opened up last year called Brooklyn Roots. You can't get in unless you have a reservation. It's the most amazing, spectacular Italian meal you've ever had. This kid took all his mother's recipes. It's got the red and white tablecloths. He's got the TV on where either The Godfather or Goodfellas or something like that is on the TV. It's an amazing. It's like going back in the 60s, but the food is spectacular. We'll go to Brooklyn Roots, guys. Yeah,
I could drop a few names. We'll get in right away.
absolutely. Yeah.
We don't have to.
So wait, I want to go back. So you did another, because I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff from your resume, and you did another movie which I have not seen, but we just it's called West End with Eric Roberts, who's been on our show, and Peter Ornati. We just had on our show like 3 weeks ago from SWAT.
Sweethearts. They're both sweethearts, man. Both
Yeah,
sweethearts.
super great guys.
I'll tell you a little bit about that film. That film is actually that has the last footage of the Jersey Shore before Sandy, before it was all destroyed and redone. We had shot that right before Sandy hit a few years back. So that's actually the last footage of the Jersey Shore before Sandy. Yeah, that was a fun film, West End. Joe Bazile wrote it and directed and starred in it. And it was myself, Eric Roberts, Peter, Anthony Mangano. Great cast. Yeah, great little film.
I noticed a lot of because you're in several movies with a lot of the same people. One of the guys is coming on the show, John Fiore. He's coming on the show.
Oh, that's my buddy. We met on Law and Order back in 1992.
Yes, so he's good.
John Fiore. Yes.
And,
Gigi. He had a nice run on The Sopranos also.
Yes. So how was that being on The Sopranos? Because that was the biggest show. Like at that time, that was like the biggest show on television. Like what was
I
that?
tell you, I was blessed at that time to have two shows on at the same time. The bad news about it was my mom had passed. She had just passed, so she didn't get to see it. I know she saw it from upstairs, but I was hosting. I was on one of the first reality shows, a show called The Gastineau Girls on the E Network that I hosted. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It was Mark Gastineau's wife and her daughter. They were like the Kardashians before the Kardashians. And I was hosting that show when I booked The Sopranos. So I was on The Sopranos on Sunday nights, and I was on The Gastineau Girls on Tuesday nights. So I had a nice little run there. But a lot of food. And everybody in The Sopranos, we all knew each other from beforehand because we run in the same circles. We go up for the same roles and stuff like that. So it was like doing a show with your family, with your cousins and your uncles and your aunts. It was a great experience. Great experience.
Next year, we're doing a movie shot all in New York. And no bullshit, but there's a part in it for the head of the, not mafia, but the head of gangsters. And we're going to be casting for it. What's his name was supposed to play it? Paul Savino, who was my friend.
Right.
But Paul passed away.
Yes, rest in
And
peace.
now that part's open. So seriously, I'd like to talk to you about it when we're ready to shoot.
Absolutely.
It's a good part. You play. It's a comedy, a black comedy, and not black.
Set in 1943. Dark comedy.
Dark
set in
comedy.
1943.
Shot in 1943.
Love it.
And it's an excellent part with the long monologue dialogue. So, and you have to be really mean and not mean. You have to be. You know how they.
He knows how to be mean.
You know how they.
I've seen a bunch of his shit.
No, listen. The capo to capo, who I've met many, were not mean. They were very
stern, business, all business, stern.
Oh, wait a minute. Where are you from? What do you do? Who do you know? Where?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So they were never mean. They were just
So I haven't.
I've been talked to by a few of those guys. I was in a restroom in a restaurant in the city one time, and me and a friend are talking, and we mentioned somebody's name just in conversation. Next thing you know, I'm literally at the toilet, and the guy taps me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, you shouldn't be mentioning names or throwing names around like that." And
It's true.
I'm like, "I'm sorry, buddy. You know, I knew who it was, and as a matter of fact, I recognized the guy." I was
It
like,
did right off.
"Sorry, we're just talking, just talking shit."
No,
And,
no, that's
yeah,
one-
I had mentioned Matty the horse's name in passing about something, and this
Listen.
guy happened to be his nephew, and oh, that's my uncle you're talking about. You shouldn't be talking about him when you're pissing or whatever the conversation was. But no,
One time the FBI came to my house on Long Island.
just once.
Only once, because I was seen going in and out of supposed mafia house that they were sort of surveying.
Yeah.
So they found me out on Long Island. I don't know how the fuck they found me. And I was innocent. So they said
Sure.
to me, wait, do you know this name? Do you know that name? Do you know that name? So being an actor, I said, listen, I'm a drag queen. What do I know from these kind of people? You think I really know about these kind of monster people? Well, they ran out of my house so fucking fast.
Oh God!
So I told my friends a story. They were pissing in the bloomers.
You
They
ever,
were,
you ever have your phone tapped where they send you the letter? You ever
no,
have that?
they just came to see if I knew these people, if I was going to give them any information.
So
So
the
I
FBI will send you a letter when they're tapping your phone. They send you a letter. I got a letter.
no, no,
It was sent to Ohio. Yeah, I got a letter saying that your phone's going to be tapped for the next couple of months.
my cousin Bertha used to always tell me on the phone, "You're coming over? All right, make sure you dress nice because the van is outside." With the camera. And they were. The van was outside photographing everybody that went in and out of her house. So they asked me questions about my cousin Louie.
Yeah.
I said, "What do I know? I'm a drag queen, darling. What do I know?" They-
So, fortunately or unfortunately, I mean, where us guys come from and who we've been around, and then in the show business thing, I mean, these characters are around, and we're going to run into them and be acquaintances with them, sometimes friends with them, and that's part of where we're from, and that's part of what we do. Is
yeah, but you know what? Lou?
they're
I
around.
really hate the way they portray the Italians in Syndicate. They all portray them as rotten, mean killers. They're not like that
Not
socially.
true. Yeah, not
They're
true.
the nicest people in the world. You go to their home, they put everything out to eat. You
Yeah.
sit down, they say, sit down, make yourself comfortable. Want to play cards? They're real people.
Yeah.
They kill each other? Yeah. Because why? You squeal on me, you motherfucker, you're dead. You don't
If you
squeal
lived in
on
a mob neighborhood back in the day, there was no, I mean, you guys familiar with Spaghetti Park in Ozone Park, Queens?
Sure.
There's a park called Spaghetti Park.
All of it.
Literally, the guys would leave their lawn chairs, their bocce balls, their radios. Everything was out overnight. Nothing was ever touched because they knew not to touch anything.
Sure.
You know, if you lived in a mob neighborhood back in the day, your neighborhood was safe. I tell you that. They looked out for the neighborhood.
I was born in Red Hook in 1940.
Right. So you know. Yeah.
In 1940, Red Hook was where all the big mafia guys were born and raised.
Yeah.
I mean, my father used to we lived in the projects, the Red Hook projects. Across the street was the Italian club. You go across the street, the fathers of all the biggest couple to couple were there. So I know these people, and I know, listen, you're in trouble, they do you a favor, they're good people. I don't want people to think the mafia is bad people. They're not.
They don't even exist.
No, they don't exist. But if they did exist, they only kill each other. They don't kill civilians.
I like it. So
I don't believe this guy.
Sorry about that. Somebody obviously lost their keys on the beach. They're making
Oh.
big announcements. I don't know if you heard it.
yes, we heard it.
But Lou, don't you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, there's pros and cons literally about that life. You know, I mean, I listen to Michael Franchese a lot, and he's a fascinating guy. And as a matter of fact, Jimmy and I talked to about. I have a faith-based film, and he's into the faith-based stuff, producing and things like that. And I would love to speak to him about one of our films that we're talking about doing, a faith-based film.
Absolutely.
What's going on in Washington right now with Biden and Trump? If I just take their names out and put Italian names, I got a mafia meeting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're doing the very same thing that the Brooklyn guys do.
Absolutely. They're both syndicates, right? They're both syndicates. They're both
And-
organized crime. You know.
Just so corrupt.
Yeah.
So that's bullshit. My dearest friends in the world are still people who are Italian and live in Bensonhurst. They live in Woodside, Queens.
Yeah.
Beechhurst.
That's where I'm from originally, Sunnyside, Woodside. I went to high school in Woodside.
And then you have to know. I can't. But anyway, we had an uncle.
I probably do.
We had an uncle who was a fence. All right.
Yeah.
One day we go over the house. I walk in the foyer. There's a big chandelier crystal. I go in the living room. There's a big chandelier. I go in the kitchen. There's a big chandelier crystal. I go in the bathroom. They had a truckload of chandeliers.
Wow.
And he went and loaded them and put them in the house. And he was selling them from the ceiling on wires.
So real quick,
Wait, one story real quick. And then
okay, because I need to talk about other shit.
I go to my friend's house because he said, we got suits, beautiful suits. I go up the stairs. Guess what? A cop opens the door. So I said to the cop, oh, isn't this the father's house? Because the church was next door. He said, no, that's next door. I said, thank you. Then I hear my friend in there say, you stupid bastard, get in here. So the cop was taking suits. You know, the cop was the biggest cop. They got him for free. So I went
almost as big as the firemen. The firemen were known for
everybody. So I got a lot of gorgeous $200 and $300 suits for nothing. Nice. Some of them. Take that one for free. It was wonderful.
So what I want to do real quick is I'm gonna have him play the Law and Order clip you sent me, just so everybody can see what you look like on the screen. And it's a short clip, you guys, and then we'll come back and talk with Lou some more. But you introduce it for me, Lou.
I guess it's a clip where I have a recurring role, and I play a lawyer by the name of Ron Fredo. I have an interesting story about that name. Obviously, Fredo, like the Godfather. And I do a couple episodes a year on Law and Order SVU. I just did one. They crossed me over to organized crime. So I think this is a interrogation scene clip that you have.
There you go. Take it away, Juan.
My client will agree to forcible touching on the girl from Jacob Lawrence house.
He raped her.
Says who?
She didn't see her attacker, and DNA on headphones, probative of nothing.
Well, we have a voice ID.
No eyewitnesses, only an ear witness. I'll convince the jury that little Lupe is deaf and blind.
Little Lupe? It's tougher than you think.
Juries love me, and they don't like cops. And that goes double for cops who turn into prosecutors. They're gonna hate you.
Well, maybe not. After they find out your client's DNA was at 3 different rape scenes.
And we have 3 Project Strong girls just like Lupe who will follow her to the stand.
We're going after your client for all 6 rapes, including the Far Rockaway rape and the double murder.
You're chasing a 60-year-old murder case with 2 confessions, huh? And a district attorney who's playing poker with tarot cards.
You want to cut a deal? Your client allocutes the Hernandez murders, and maybe I can swing criminally negligent homicide and rape 2 on the other 6.
I ain't fasting no crack home murders, and I ain't copping to no pedo rapes. But no short eyes, please, like those Moes Torres and Hernandez did.
What do you know about that?
I got no idea how Carlos has lasted 16 years in Greenhaven. Everyone knows he's a fag.
All right, that's okay, Tim. Look, we're done here. I'll be taking my client back to processing.
Get him out of here.
You insist on murders and child rapes? We'll go to the mat in my ring.
Great clip. Great clip. You're right about the gray, though. Like, I can see that. You look great.
You know what?
It pops. I guess it pops. I don't know.
Not only are you very handsome, but you can act.
Oh, thank you. I've been doing it a long time. I better be okay at it, at least at this point, since 1964.
Have trouble with lines ever?
Do I have what?
Have trouble ever memorizing lines?
Later on in life, as you know, if I were to do a play right now, it takes me a little longer. Prevagen is an amazing thing, though. I start popping Prevagen.
I'm in a bunch of movies.
Does it really work?
Yeah, it does. It does. I see the difference. It helps me when I take
it. He takes Prevagen and it helps him remember the lines.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 83 years old, so I'm lucky I can pee. But I what do you call it? I use a thing now, like everybody might like to street, everybody now my age.
Yeah.
We're using the earplug.
Yeah.
Because I could learn a lot, all my lines, and I get on the set.
It's all about repetition. It's an interesting story about how I got the name Ron Fredo. When I got that job, the character's name was, I think, Parker, Rob Parker. And I get to my dressing room.
Ron
Fredo.
Well, my name is Fredo, like the Godfather Fredo. F-R-E-D-O.
My real name is Ron Serego.
Really, really. So I get to my dressing room that first day, and you know the nameplate on the door where it should have said Parker, somebody put a sticker on there and it said Fredo. So I thought somebody was playing a joke with me. I knew the director. I had worked with the director before. So I went up, I got to set, and I said, "Hey, Mike, who put the Fredo sticker on my door?" He says, "Oh, you don't know?" I says, "No." He says, they changed your name to Ron Fredo. He says, "You better go down and talk to Jonathan Strauss downstairs, the producer, about what's going on." I'm like, "Okay, what's going on?" So I run down there, and he was just coming up to see me. He says, "Lou," he says, "the network loves you. We don't have a lawyer like you on the show, and we'd like you to recur as this character named Ron Fredo." And they're taking the Fredo from, this was right around the Chris Cuomo. You remember a couple years ago, Chris Cuomo was like accosted in a bar and called Fredo, and he said, "How dare you? That's a bad term. It's slang. It's a derogatory term if you call an Italian Fredo." I don't know where he got that from, but that was the big thing. So I decided to change my name to Fredo and make me this recurring character.
Which is awesome, because it's so
I thought the
cool.
word was Dago.
Yeah, right? Yeah, he thought Fredo was derogatory. I guess because he thought that the Fredo character in The Godfather was weak and cowardly and, that kind of stuff.
So I have a question for you. Do you like horror movies? Because I saw you did a movie, and I've never seen it, and I'm a big horror movie fan, but you did a movie back in the day called Spiker, which the actual, and you're one of the leads in it, and the actual synopsis of it is really good. It sounds like it would be a good movie. Number one, is it any good? And number two, do you like horror movies?
I love horror movies, and Spiker was something that we shot actually on Long Island. I think we shot that in the Hamptons. We shot it way out of Long Island with Frank Zagarino, again, a few years back, but had a nice time doing it. Nice cast. It's a good little horror film, and I love horror films. I love the Halloween, the old Halloween franchise before Rob Zombie took it over and updated it and stuff like that. See, I'm not for the updating stuff. I'd rather re-release the original to the young people. Show the original stuff.
Absolutely.
Not redoing stuff and modernizing or whatever, or doing a take on it. Re-release the classics.
I didn't mind the Rob Zombie one, but I don't like all the rest of them after that. And probably the only reason I liked it is because back in the day I was pretty friendly with Malcolm McDowell and Dave Fairk, who played young Michael Myers. He's been one of my PR clients for years.
Yeah. And I like to be scared as opposed to gore. I like
yes,
to be scared.
him too.
That kind of thing. The Exorcist is I can't watch The Exorcist. I'm terrified with those quick shots of her being the demon. That stuff terrifies me. I don't need the blood and gore. I like the scares.
I've done a lot of horror, and I'm in a bunch of horror coming up if the strike is over. And I freely read the script, and I'm happy that I don't have to be cut up because.
Well, I've been cut up before. Oh,
I gotta warn you, Lou. I'm warning you, Lou. I'm warning you. If they cut you up and that blood gets in your hair, your hair's pink.
Yeah,
you can't get the fucking blood out.
I take about 17 showers just to.
More. So I told them, if you intend to cut me up, I have to wear a shower cap.
One of the projects that I had mentioned to Jimmy, and he's looking it over right now, is I have a screenplay that I wrote called King Killer. I'm also a big Elvis Presley fan, and I wrote this movie as an homage to the great 80s slasher films, and it's about a middle of the road Elvis tribute artist whose mom is a wacko and actually thinks she's like a Gladys Presley type, and she wants to go around the country killing other Elvis tribute artists so her son can win the big contest in Memphis. It's called King Killer.
I love it. I think it's freaking genius.
I think it's a great black comedy. It's got the horror genre in there. It's got the Elvis stuff in there. So Jimmy and I are going to talk about that further. Also, something that we might get involved
in. So bucket list. Okay, so here's something I always like to ask people, and you've really been acting for such a long time since you started as a young child. Male and female that you haven't worked with that you would love to work with, and they can be living or dead. And then if you could have ever been in any movie that's ever been made in the world, and you can't pick The Godfather because you're in it, so you can't have been in it. Right. So any movie that you can have. Like, what movie would you have liked to have been in if you could have ever been in any movie that's ever been made?
Oh, God.
To be whatever character you want in that movie.
Well, I'll tell you my favorite movie of all time. And I was obviously much too young at the time, but today I would have loved to give it a shot at that role. But nobody's going to touch John Cazale in Dog Day Afternoon. But I would have loved to have been opposite Al in Dog Day Afternoon. That would have been a dream. That would have been a dream.
That was a hell of a performance.
Oh, God. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. And, when he got hired, Sidney said, the first thing he said, he's way too old for the role, but he's brilliant. He is the role. I can't see anybody else playing the part when he
phenomenal job. Phenomenal.
Yeah. And then I'm a big Robert Mitchum fan. I would love to have done something with Robert Mitchum back in the day. And today, Christian Bale. I'd love to do something with Christian Bale. I think he's phenomenal. Might be difficult to work with, but I give it a shot. Sam Rockwell. I love Sam Rockwell's work. Some of those guys that I haven't worked with.
If and when I see you, I'll give you Robert Mitchum stories because he was Jane Russell's best friend.
Yeah.
I have stories about the two of them.
He was best friends with Jane Russell.
With Jane Russell.
Well, for example, when people don't know who Robert Mitchum is, I say go watch him in Cape Fear, and then go watch De Niro's Cape Fear and see the difference. Mitchum, as soon as Mitchum comes on screen, his presence is petrifying, frightening. De Niro had to do the tattoos and the southern accent and the screaming and the yelling. Mitchum just comes on screen, touches his hat, and you're blown away. You're blown away by his presence.
But they wouldn't like Robert Mitchum today because he and Jane were Republicans, big-time Republicans.
Right.
Republicans, and today they would be boycotted, killed, shot, murdered because Republicans are not allowed to say that.
Yeah, there's no more debate anymore. No more free speech, unfortunately.
No, you can't be a Republican today. You're not allowed. Yep. People say to me, "Are you a Republican?"
Wait, so
I say, "No, I'm gay."
So wait, tell me who was the male and the female actor again?
Robert Mitchum.
Okay, Robert Mitchum. Okay. Who was the
female? Well, female. Okay. I always had a crush on Esther Williams.
Oh, I know Esther.
No, you really?
Oh, yes, I knew Esther.
Is it true? Let me ask you this. This is the one thing I heard about her, and I love Esther Williams. I have all the pictures on my wall still in my Jersey house. They say she had a mouth like a truck driver, like a sailor. Is that true?
They all did.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Jane
I heard Esther Williams, everything was fuck this, fuck you, fuck your sister, that kind of stuff.
When I met
Jane
Esther,
Russell, too?
No, when I met Esther, she
Russell.
was Jane Russell's best friend, and I was going out with Jane, so Jane took me to Esther's house. And Esther was very polite and whatever. And you know me, I can't stay but 5 minutes without a fuck you or something.
Yeah.
The minute I started in, she came right out and did. Yeah, she was she was real. She would say things.
Right.
She used fuck a lot. So did Betty Davis.
Right.
I knew Betty Davis. She used fuck a lot. All of them did.
Natalie Wood, if I would have got a shot to work with Natalie Wood, that would have been a dream to work with
The
Natalie.
one with the dirtiest mouth in Hollywood.
I love Natalie Wood.
The filthiest mouth in Hollywood was a little girl. Come on, Ron. Anyway, June Allison. June Allison had a mouth. The fuck wasn't between every sentence. She wasn't happy. Yeah, but Esther Williams was she drank. She was tough.
Somebody's got a birthday next door, as you can hear. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Put it out a little bit.
He actually was at lunch with Betty Davis, and she tell him the story about Of Course You Do.
Oh, Betty came with a sailor hat pulled down, big sunglasses, no lipstick. We had lunch. She finished lunch and she got the lipstick and went, and then turned around to the waiter and said, "More coffee, please." Well, a bunch of queens were in the restaurant. They heard that. They jumped up. They ran over to her. They said, "Oh, Miss Davis, I adore you. Miss Davis, I love you. Oh, Miss Davis, you're wonderful." And she said, "Of course you do. Of course you do." Of course you do. Betty was a camp. Betty was funny. Betty had a wonderful sense of humor. And you could, I used to talk, well, not dirty, but I'd let a fuck fly every now and then. And so did she.
Yeah.
If it was necessary, we never said fuck unnecessarily.
Right. Jimmy, do you know the story how I got my name?
No.
How I got my name?
I read something about it because you changed it. Tell us the story.
Yeah, so my stage name is Lou Martini Jr., right? My family name is Azara. How I got the Martini name is back in the day.
Azara, wait a minute.
My family name is Azara, Azzara.
Oh, no Lazara.
No. It may have been Lazara. They may have lost the L back in the day.
You know who was Lazara? Bernadette Peters, and she came from not Sunnyside, but near you. And her father was Lazara bread, Italian bread.
Right, I know she was the bread thing. I didn't remember she was Lazara. Wow, okay.
Her real name is Bernadette Lazara.
So tell us, okay, so you were in
my father back in the 20s was probably working on Speakeasy one night with his brother Benny. They had an act. Benny was the piano player. My father was the singer and comedian. And they were getting raided, and these places would get raided. Either you get arrested or they'd line you up and give you a summons, give you a ticket, whatever. So this one night, the place is getting raided. They lined my father and my uncle up against the bar. Cop says, "Okay, what's your name?" Somebody else lost their keys. Oh, now it's a parking violation. Oh, geez. So anyway, my father and my uncle are lined up against the bar. and the cop comes and asks for their names. There was a coaster, a Martini and Rossi coaster in front of my father. So my father says, my name is Luigi Martini. This is my brother, Benny Martini. Just give us the fucking ticket. Don't worry about it. He kept the coaster. They kept the name in their act. They, from then on, went as Lou Martini and Benny Martini. And I still have the actual coaster that my father saved. So that's how I became Lou Martini Jr. So
I like that.
I could have been Lou Rossi. I'm glad it was
But
Martini.
actually, Martini is much cool. It sounds much cool.
Yes, much better than Lou Rossi.
Your real name is good also. My really real name, my father's name was Cesarigo. Now, who the fuck is going to be in Hollywood?
Wow. I got a
Cesario?
Cesario, but I don't know a Cesario. We got a
Yeah,
Cesario.
that's Longy. So, but they knew my father is Big Benny.
Okay.
That was my father's nickname, Big Ben. He was a delegate for the union, Painters Decorator.
And he was in Red Hook. He's from Red Hook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
My mother was from 9th Avenue, but we lived in the projects, in the Red Hook projects,
Right.
when they first built them. And I was born there.
Yeah.
So,
As I get older, I love talking about the old stuff, the old movies, the old days. I don't know.
me too.
I feel like I was born in the wrong time. I feel like I should have been around like in the 50s. and 60s,
how old are you?
playing the Copa. I'll be 63 this year. 63.
You're like Jimmy. You're a baby.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like Jimmy. I feel like I missed my time. Like I feel like I should have been Bobby Darin. Not that I'm a talent.
It was a wonderful time. I grew up. I was a teenager in the 50s.
Yeah.
And it was the best time in the world. America was the best in the 1950s. The
I
war
say,
was
Ron, from the day World War II ended to the day that the Beatles got off that plane in '64. If you look at this country from '45 to '64, there's a lot to like. Entertainment.
it was perfect. We all had money. We had bought homes. We had cars. Mama stayed home and cooked. Papa went to work. And my sister was safe. There was nobody raping.
Everybody got along. Yeah. You know,
And
there's an
everybody
interesting
got-
article.
And you know what? Being from Red Hook, our neighbors were black. And I never knew.
Yep.
You believe it? I never knew.
Well,
I
that's
played
the point I want to make about the Beatles. There's an interesting article that somebody wrote in the Times that as far as segregation goes, the worst thing that happened to this country is when the Beatles got off that plane, all the white kids that were dancing and listening to Motown and black music and stuff, they stopped. They stopped dancing together. They stopped hanging out together. The black kids, stayed with their black music, and all the white kids went to the Beatles and the Stones. A very interesting article on how that really segregated the country again, and things were really improving and getting better. The kids were dancing together and stuff like that, and then Beatles got off the plane and everything changed. Everything changed.
But when I was 16, Johnny Mantis came on the scene.
That's his favorite. is
And
Johnny
I've
Mathis.
been a fan. I've met Johnny 3 times, and I
Still
love.
touring. Yeah.
He's a nice guy as well. He's a sweetheart of a guy, and I adore him. So I never saw black people. You know, there's a difference. My black friends use the N-word when they talk about the ghetto garbage.
Yeah.
But if you know the decent, well-educated, famous black people, like we know CeCe Pennington, finally. We know so many black people.
Oh, yeah, we're
They're
also-
wonderful people. They're beautiful people.
Yeah.
It's the garbage of any race that makes it bad for everybody.
Yeah, it's all about character. Skin color has nothing to do with it. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. It doesn't matter the color of your skin.
Absolutely.
I never saw color. I do when I see them robbing stores.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
have a quick question, and I want to go one movie. We have 2 minutes. So you were in Tina and Tony and Tina's Wedding, which I think was a Broadway play or something, right?
Yes.
Also,
The original cast, that was the first interactive Broadway show where you actually thought you were going to a wedding. A lot of people would tell their friends that they weren't going to a show, that they would go to a wedding, and everything would happen. I mean, uncles would pass out and stuff like that. You'd have some terrible baked CD, and it was a
when
wild
you-
Italian wedding.
I was supposed to audition for that show, but I had so many appointments at my show over the Eastern Seaboard, I couldn't.
but he did a
coordinate.
movie. He did the movie of it.
No, I did the Broadway show. I was supposed
No,
to.
because some of the people that you worked with in that movie, they're like the biggest stars in the world right now. I mean, big, like
Mila Kunis and Joey McIntyre.
Adrian Grenier, Richard Portnow's a friend of mine. John Bernthal, though, and Sebastian Stan. I mean, those are huge people. So how was that doing that?
John Bernthal. Yep.
Yeah. How is Joey McIntyre? Is he nice? I'm a big.
Oh, it was great. It was a great set.
I'm a big New Kids on the Block fan.
Yeah. And he was honest about it. He says, I don't know why I got hired. I'm an Irish kid, from Boston. I don't know why they hired me to play an Italian kid from Queens.
He's
But
actually
he
a pretty
did
good
great
actor,
job.
though.
Yeah.
He was in that movie with Sandra Bullock and the Face That Lady, I forgot her name, the comedian, where they're like the cops and the
Cops.
FBI agent. That was a great movie.
McCarthy.
McCarthy. So, all right, so you guys, this is Lou Martini Jr. Check out all his different things. Follow him on Instagram. I'm going to get him to post more on his Instagram so he can build a following for all the big projects that he's got coming up. And check out all the things he's been in. I hope you have a wonderful time on the rest of your vacation with your family. And it was a pleasure having you on the show. We loved it.
Like I said, I wouldn't have missed it. I said, I don't want to reschedule. You guys are hot. I gotta keep my appointment with you guys, and it all worked out great. Not too many ways, hopefully.
We'll talk soon.
I'm looking forward to going to that restaurant.
Oh, we're in Brooklyn Roots.
I'm not kidding. I'm not bullshitting. I'm going to be in Mill Basin a lot.
Yes.
Because my friends live there.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'll introduce you to my friends. You'll like them.
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, Louie.
Bye, Lou. Have fun.
Guys.
Family. See ya. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We had a great show today. We want to thank Harvey Brownstone and Lou Martini Jr. It was a fabulous show.
Today's show was one of the most realist. Is that proper grammar? Is one of the most realist shows we've ever had. Today, I really felt in good company.
So we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Cameron.
Can turn out to be so wrong. Yeah, we in the mix. Yeah, we in the mix. It's another episode. Here we go. The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Interviewing the hottest, newest, and truest of today's celebrities. Make sure to subscribe so you can get notified weekly. Jimmy Star, he's the king of cool. Ron Russell, he's a gorgeous dude. Chat room is live and you would be a fool not to vibe with us at the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. Come watch it live on W4CY Radio. Miss some past episodes? Download on iTunes. The Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell. It's the Jimmy Star Show with Ron Russell.